Well, in this episode of Vice Grip Garage, we rescue a truck that's been sitting on a farm for 16 years and then allegedly bury it in some swamp and get lost. Great. That's perfect. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top, cruising the streets. Welcome back to Vice Grip Garage. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, at the Tucson Dragway for the second annual duct tape drag.
Derek Barry's life isn't what you'd expect from the friendly face on Vice Grip Garage.
I got chips and dip and things to do and Vice Grip's a turn, so I gotta kick you out. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it very much. We'll see you very soon.
His journey from corporate suits to engines hides a truth he's never fully shared. Derek's unforgiving path takes a turn as he dives into drag racing and vintage car restoration, facing dangerous speeds and near disasters along the way. Tune in to see him risk everything as his past and passion unite. Tucson, race against time. When the sun casts its golden glow over the Tucson Dragway, where the annual duct tape drags is about to unfold, the driver of a sleek convertible enters the scene, ready to share this experience with a vast online following. Tucson, Arizona, renowned for its clear skies, serves as the perfect backdrop for today's event. Hosting the show is the creator behind Vice Grip Garage, whose approach deviates from typical instructional videos. Today, his focus is on entertainment rather than explicit teaching. Despite this, his nearly 2 million followers might argue that each episode, though wrapped in humor and high-speed antics, subtly imparts knowledge. The episodes generally showcase the revival of vintage automobiles, which at a glance appear as chaotic bursts of mechanical resuscitation and exhilarating test drives. Yet for those who observe keenly, each video is an opportunity to glean mechanical insights amidst the laughter and roaring engines. But as the engine roars to life, a hush falls over the crowd. The convertible isn't just any old project car. Not everyone gets their start with a college degree or formal training. Some people just find their path through trial, error, and a bit of fearless curiosity. Derek wasn't your typical mechanic. No shiny diplomas. No prestigious workshops. He learned by doing. Picture this, a kid, maybe 5 or 6 years old, in an old garage that smells of motor oil and dust. While other kids were playing with action figures or riding their bikes, he was elbow deep in rusty bolts and greasy gears. He didn't just play with tools, he transformed junk into functioning. And where did this determination come from? It was all thanks to his father and grandfather, who spent hours in that garage showing him the ropes. They didn't coddle him. They handed him the tools and let him figure things out. Broken engines, busted parts. He took on every challenge, no matter how tough. His approach was simple. If it didn't work, he'd just keep at it until it did. It wasn't glamorous, but it was real. The phrase "I'll be dipped" actually goes, celebrity crush? But I'd rather shave my head or shave my beard, no question, I'd shave. This was where the legend of Vice Grip Garage started, with an unwavering desire to fix what others had given up on. But there's more to his story. His talent didn't just come from getting his hands dirty. He was also a reader, and not just of car magazines or glossy manuals. No, he devoured thick books on mechanical and electrical engineering like they were thrilling novels. He was driven by a need to know not just the how, but the why behind every bolt, every wire, every piece of machinery. While others were content to learn the basics, he wanted to dig deeper. That's the foundation of what makes Vice Grip Garage so unique. It's not just about fixing cars, it's about understanding them at their very core. Before YouTube, before the fame, there was something else, a corporate job. He once wore suits and ties, sat in meetings, and lived the office life. But something was missing. He could feel it in every long, monotonous workday. One day he decided he'd had enough. The suit went into the closet, and out came his old flannel shirt, the one covered in oil stains and memories. The garage became his new office, and Vice Grip Garage began as a passion project, a way to get back to what he loved most. Those first videos? They were far from perfect. No fancy equipment, no slick editing, just an old cracked phone propped up on whatever was available, aimed at an aging Camaro and his voice telling the story of the car's rebirth. There were no big plans, no expectations of fame. It was just a man, his garage, and his determination to breathe life into forgotten metal. And that's what drew people in, not just the work, but the authenticity. This was no polished production. It was raw, real, and unfiltered. And then something happened, people started watching. First dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Viewers didn't just watch because they wanted to learn about cars. They watched because they liked him. He wasn't just a mechanic, he was a story. He explained things in ways that made sense even to people who knew nothing about cars. He joked, he laughed, he failed, and he tried again. Here it is, this thing looks awesome. Kinda diggin' the color. You know, this was actually sold as a 74, but I can tell that it's a 79 because of the way that it is. He made car repair accessible, and dare we say, fun. It wasn't about impressing anyone. It was about sharing a passion. Soon, Vice Grip Garage wasn't just a YouTube channel, it became a community. People from all walks of life, all skill levels, came together in the comment sections and forums, united by a common love of cars and his down-to-earth approach. And while the channel grew, he never lost touch with what made it special, that kid in the garage just trying to make something work. He wasn't a polished celebrity. He was one of us. But there's something else that sets him apart, something that Vice Grip Garage doesn't always highlight, it's his resilience. Most YouTubers shy away from showing their failures, but not him. He embraces them. When things go wrong, and they often do, he shares the whole mess. He shows every misstep, every broken part, every dead end. Why? Because that's real life. And he understands that learning doesn't come from perfection, it comes from struggle. His willingness to share the ugly parts, the mistakes, is what makes him so inspiring. It's what makes Vice Grip Garage more than just entertainment. It makes it a source of motivation. Ever wonder how far passion can take you? His story is proof that it can take you further than you'd ever expect. A small-town mechanic. A simple garage. A few rusty cars. From that, he built something far greater. Vice Grip Garage is no longer just a hobby or a YouTube channel, it's a testament to the power of doing what you love. And it all started with a decision to leave the comfort of a corporate job behind. Was it risky? Absolutely. But he knew that the risk was worth taking. Because in the end, it's not about the money or the fame, it's about the joy of the work itself. Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, we'll all be watching. For his darker secret, coming up next. From garages to the Midwest drags, behind the roaring engines and smoky burnouts, there lies a story about Derek Bieri that Vice Grip Garage doesn't want you to know. A story that doesn't begin with fame or fortune, but with a simple, unrelenting love for cars. It wasn't about recognition. It wasn't about being in the spotlight. It was about a man, his passion, and a quiet thrill that drove him into the depths of the drag racing world. The kind of thrill that comes from turning wrenches, piecing together old parts, and squeezing every ounce of power out of a machine that others had long abandoned. His journey started in the shadows, in countless garages where the clang of metal and smell of gasoline marked his nights and weekends. His first step into the blazing fast world of drag racing didn't come from some grand vision. It started at the Midwest Drags in 2021. He was supposed to just be a spectator. But something happened that weekend. The adrenaline, the roar of the engines, the blurring speed, it was too intoxicating to ignore. Riding alongside Tom Bailey in the infamous ice cream truck, he saw what it really meant to live fast. And that single experience sparked something deep within him. This revelation was the beginning of his commitment to drag racing. Dipstick fell, PLY, so the air pump on the engine, the suppressor wasn't put in, so we didn't have enough air in the system to air on both bags. Way better. Soon after, he found himself teaming up with John Matson, a man who shared his enthusiasm and understood the art of building cars from the ground up. Together, they created El Toro, a Mustang that could only be described as a beast. Armed with a Coyote engine from Motion Raceworks, El Toro wasn't just another car, it was a declaration of intent. And when they took it to the Rocky Mountain Race Week, the results spoke volumes. El Toro hit 8 seat times, sending ripples through the competition. But the real story wasn't in the numbers, it was in the bond he and John had formed. A shared love for speed, for engineering, for bringing a dream to life. But this was only the beginning.